This was a throwback to those Boxing Day games that Grandad used to go on about. A real Lancashire hot pot on the boil from the second minute when Denis Irwin scored against the team who sold him to United. Joe Royle, never a manager to sit back and let it happen, substituted a full-back with a winger before half-time. But it was United's Ukrainian winger Andrei Kanchelskis who danced the leaders into a clear interval lead. When you're ready. Wasn't going to be rushed, was he? The goal rush came at the start of the second half. 5 in 11 minutes. The first two squaring up the match. Graham Sharp guiding in Andy Barlow's free kick. And then Oldham equalising through Mike Milligan. Richie Skyer coming down to earth off Marshall. And Milligan chancing his arm with telling results. 2-2, and we'd only just begun. United changed gear with a full speed ahead free kick from Denis Irwin. Getting to be a habit with him. And then in Royle's words, Alex Ferguson's team caught fire, blazing a trail to the pick of their goals. Hughes and Kanchelskis teaming up until Brian McClare comes between them to steal the glory. He does more than his share of spade work, though. He's moved on to 16 goals for the season now. Webb pivoting to provide his second of the match. Oldham slipping and a sliding. McClare keeping his feet and getting a helpful deflection to boot. Oldham chased the match gamely, although the big United keeper Peter Schmeichel insists he had the ball kicked out of his hands here. Ironically, it was the prostrate Denis Irwin who finally kicked it into Paul Bernard's path. 3-5 if you're still keeping count. United coasted to their 7th straight win on the back of a final offering from Paul Ince and substitute Ryan Giggs. Pace to spare, United have 2 points and 2 games to spare now. Leeds have only themselves to blame. Twice they put some daylight between themselves and Southampton. Steve Hodges scoring twice in 3 minutes to give them a healthy half-time lead. Deputising capably for the injured Gordon Strachan. There's not much that Strachan can't do when he's fit, but far-post headers have never been his speciality. Hodge popping up out of a hole in the ground to convert Mel Sterling's stylish cross. 2-0 at halfway, no problem. But this, in Howard Wilkinson's words, was Leeds' most disappointing display in his time as manager. A rather tentative Southampton move. Number 10, Ian Dowie, hanging around long enough for the ball to drop his way. But with 15 minutes to go, Leeds were clear again. Sterling getting himself in the clear again. And high climber Gary Speed providing another reminder of his heading abilities. But Southampton didn't deserve to lose, and they didn't. Alan Shearer shrugging off David Batty to fly a speculator past John Lukic. And then with a couple of minutes remaining, the goal that sent us Leeds to a 3rd consecutive draw. Adams' cross, Shearer's header, Dowie's finish, Wilkinson's fury. Leeds have got 3 chances to cheer him up at Manchester United's expense. Sheffield Wednesday have moved to within 7 points of Leeds thanks to Bartman. 17-year-old Chris Bart-Williams waltzing his way through the Everton defence. David Hurst taking over and smashing a winner through Neville Southall. Steve McMahon's Manchester City debut was upstaged by an early Norwich goal at Main Road. Rob Newman, the party pooper, arriving all alone. But in Niall Quinn and David White, City have a trouble double act for McMahon to supply. White, who scored twice at Anfield last weekend, steered a searing cross onto Quinn's head to square it. Just backed off enough to make it look easy. The big Irishman believes the pacey Englishman could be a European Championship wildcard for Graham Taylor. White arrived from nowhere to win it on the stroke of half-time. It's been a white Christmas in Manchester, all right. Liverpool are fast becoming a one-team pools panel. 10 draws now this season. The latest of the goalless variety thanks to Queen's Park Rangers goalkeeper Jan Stejskal. Dean Saunders amongst his victims at Loftus Road. West Ham are falling fast, helped on their way by 2 Aston Villa goals in as many minutes. The first, a Dwight York header. That's how West Ham used to defend in the old days. 7 in 9 games now for York. The second Villa goal, a lucky break for Ron Atkinson's man of the match, Tony Daly. Smooth turn, rough deflection. McCloskey following the bouncing ball agonisingly into his net. Daly, amongst others, being watched by the England manager, incidentally. But Frank McAvenny kept Hammers' heads up with a reply early in the second half. Nice to see Julian Dix back in working order. Spoon-feeding McAvenny. But with just 2 points in their last 6 games, nothing much is going right for Billy Bonds and co. and Villa sealed it in the closing seconds. Kevin Richardson, who'd won the ball for York in the first place, getting in where it hurts to deliver the killer blow. 3-1 the final score. All's not well with Arsenal's world either. Luton starting their escape tunnel with a goal 11 minutes from time, fashioned by Scott Oates and finished by Mick Harford. George Graham says the champions are a bit thin in midfield and a bit thin on attitude. Nigel Clough's dismissal at Tottenham made the Banner back page headlines. His early goal for Nottingham Forest an incidental detail, loitering long enough to turn in Roy Keane's cross after 11 minutes. Paul Stewart equalised on the hour. Vanden Hau's throw cleared conveniently for him to latch onto a loose one and score his first league goal of the year. It was Stewart who Clough latched onto after he'd fouled Keane. Pearce's resulting free kick towards Clough, who just couldn't resist the chance to exact his own retribution. 7 minutes to go. I'm sure he'll be as remorseful as his dad was about the incident, but it was a bit of a swipe, wasn't it? But Forest had the final swipe. Stuart Pearce echoes of the FA Cup final. Almost a tap-in by his standards, a suitable winner with seconds to spare. No more grateful goalscorer on Thursday than Crystal Palace's Marco Gabbiadini, taking time to come to terms with a new club and a new role, but waiting his time to fasten onto a clearance that Wimbledon Scott Fitzgerald couldn't. He just went in though, didn't it, Gabby? For Selhurst sitting tenants square this home banker. Palace stationary, Warren Barton on the move. Good finish, running away from goal. Any goal's a good one for Wimbledon at the moment. Notts County and Chelsea, with hardly any form between them, were separated by a goal in each half at Meadow Lane. Ian Porterfield's defence getting a front row view of a well-worked corner and staying in their seats whilst Dean Yates scored. Then Dave Besant's goal kick returned with interest, first by Charlie Palmer's head, then decisively past Besant by Tommy Johnson. It could have been 5, said Neil Warnock. His opposite number, Ian Porterfield, wasn't arguing. Coventry manager Terry Butcher admits his team are fighting for their lives at the moment. Enter debutant Sean Flynn to combine with the towering Robert Rosario to set up Stuart Robson to give City a lift at Sheffield United. Flynn was working as a brickie on a building site 2 months ago. £20,000 cemented his move from non-league Hales Owen. Looks like cheap labour. His big day made by a thumping goal. Thumping win for Coventry. Dave Bassett says they won't score 3 goals from 5 goal attempts every week. They will if they're all as good as this one from Peter Billing. Bit of Christmas put behind that, wasn't there? Maybe a happier new year on the way for Coventry.